Hi guys, this is my Hoya Lacunosa var Pallidiflora. I hope you enjoyed the rest of my plant vlog. You can hit the like, subscribe, and of course the bell so you're notified every single time I do upload a new video. All of my social media accounts, including what I'm using and providing for this particular plant, will be listed down in the description section as well. So if you're interested, always check that part out of my videos because I always try to give you guys like easy access to everything, so it's easier for you guys to deal with. So if you haven't, I will always try to put the links up above in the video, and also I'll try to down in the description section in regards to the unboxing of this particular plant if you haven't seen that one yet. So let us begin. So I didn't even know about it until very recently that Lacunosa has a lot of different kind of like sub-varieties within that variety itself. And so I believe this one is the Pallidiflora. That's why I'm calling her the Lacunosa var Pallidiflora. She sits in this self-watering pot in my homemade pond. And as I've said, everything you're seeing right now will be linked down below. So if you're curious what I'm using, you can check that out and just focus on the video. So I'm just going to tell you guys what I usually do in the very beginning when I transplant a plant and put it in self-watering and in pond, especially my newer plants are usually Hoyas lately, and it's just a really bad experience, and I'm going to be very concerned with this particular plant because the previous one that I purchased died in less than 24 hours. So I hope being in self-watering will actually help her. So currently she sits in an east-facing window. She's directly at the window. She is on the top of a shelf. I would say she does get a ton of eastern light, and for the rest of the day, if it is very sunny, she will get bright indirect light. She will never get the midday sun because that would be reserved for a west or a southern window. Everywhere that I have asked and researched, people recommend, and other people who have had lacunosas recommend putting them on an eastern facing window. So I chose that window because of that. I usually check my Hoyas in the self-watering on a weekly basis, and depending on what they need, if they need to be watered again, I just adjust that. But my initial one, when I first get them, is I usually put it for 7 days. And the reason that I do that is because what I've noticed is that when I first put them in pond, they get very thirsty because they're adjusting. So the second week or the second time that I do water them and so on and so forth would be a little bit more acclimated in that situation, so they won't be as thirsty. And that is for a self-watering. I cannot attest to you how to take care of this plant in regards to regular medium or a chunky soil mix that you do use, so I don't know how to do that. But for this one, what I would do is when it reaches the minimum, as I have said in my other plant vlogs, I wait for the top part to be dry, and if it is minimum, then I can water it. Now here's another trick, is that certain plants, so far I've only been doing this with epiphytic plants successfully. I have tried other plants unsuccessfully, and it was due to the fact that I didn't really know. It's not really very advisable to use a more dense substrate or medium like soil or cactus soil or all-purpose potting soil, or I don't even think I would suggest perlite because perlite holds a ton of water. I wouldn't really suggest that, and also the granules are really small. I also do not have any experience in regards to perlite, so I cannot suggest that and advise for that. I've used coco coir, all potting soil, that kind of mix, and it just doesn't work. So I never recommend anything that will become dense, like soil or coco coir. Even though coco coir is always stated that it can be very airy and it should be okay. From my personal experience, it didn't work out well. I thought it would actually work because that a lot of self-watering pot companies actually supply that with when you buy their pots. I've used that. It just doesn't work out. So anyway, what I would suggest if you want to do a self-watering, semi-hydro kind of situation, I would suggest use Leica. I've never used Leica before, but a ton of people have great success with Leica, but I would do my research on that one. That can be a try for you. I have been successful with orchid bark, and I am now currently on Pawn, but I don't really have a huge or a long track record for that. I've only started it very, very recently, so I cannot really say what will happen in the long run. What I do know, though, using orchid bark is that when when it's not dense and it can provide aeration in there, it does help. Also, in the very beginning, from my personal experience, because I started with lechuza, and they suggest that in the very beginning, you let it dry out for 7 days. So I have done that before, but what I've noticed with the Hoyas, I've tried to push them, and they get very, very thirsty and they start to yellow. So I try to always push my plants to be a little bit more dried, but each variety is very, very different with Hoyas. I've only successfully done it for 7 days for my Phalaenopsis orchids. And after a while, they can't deal with waiting for 7 days. They love the constant humidity, the constant moisture. And my orchids have been in their self-watering pots for years. So they're used to that. So that's just a tip if you are interested into transitioning into semi-hydro or self-watering pots. That's what I would suggest. And since I make my own pond, I can adjust my own fertilizer. If you want to fertilize and supplement, please double check if it is okay for hydroponics or semi-hydro, because it's very, very different. There are a lot of fertilizers that are only really targeted only for soil, and there are other fertilizers that can be used for soil and hydroponics and vice versa. And also you can also get fertilizers and supplement that is only for hydro. You just have to really check. Every single company will let you know. It will always tell you where this is safe to use. So be very, very careful, because some people don't really know that, and some people will use that on semi-hydro or hydro, and that will actually burn your plants. So be very, very careful. I prefer to use urea-free fertilizers and supplements, and the reason for that is number one, it hurts orchids, the urea, so I skip that. And secondly, it can be a buildup in your medium, soil, whatever substrate or medium you use. Substrate or medium is like either pond, bark, soil, potting soil, cactus soil, whatever mix you use. That's what it is, I think, generally called in a general sense. And urea is an ingredient that can actually kill orchids. So because I use a universal fertilizer, I just prefer not to do that. And I've kind of noticed that with semi-hydro or self-watering that it actually is beneficial with that. It actually is, like, you don't have to flush as much, if that makes any sense, due to the salt content, because the salt is like, anyway. So here she is. I've only had her a short amount of time. As always, I want to vlog her right away. And sitting on an eastern facing window, here she is. So there she is. And because her root system, like this one right here, the 2-leafer one, her roots are only like this long. So what I plan to do, and the rest, the roots are only up to here. So what I plan to do is that I check all of the levels every day I check them for all my self-watering pots for my Hoyas because they are fairly new. And you know, they haven't really, I think after maybe months and months and months, I can be a little bit more comfortable and actually be okay. But for certain ones that I do have, like this one, the root system is only here. If indeed I do see that around the medium, the water level indicates that it is in the medium part and it doesn't move in like 2-3 days, I will add water. And the reason for that is and also if it hits the medium and the top part looks dry, it is and also I'm gonna check the leaves, of course. Like the leaves right now feel really, really dry because I just got her. But anyway, so that's it. So I'm gonna pick when it hits the medium, the top part is dry, all of it, the entire layer is dry, and the leaves look a little bit wrinkly. What I would do is I would add more water. The reason for that is I have read that Lacunosas are very thirsty. And also, like I said, the root system is right here. I mean, right here. So if indeed the moisture level goes to the medium and it doesn't move for days, that is letting me know that maybe I need to add more water up back to the max. I actually need to get rid of this excess a little bit, but I want her to acclimate a little bit. I did just water her like a few hours ago, so that's what I'm doing. After a while, just so you know, when having a self-watering pot, this is from my personal experience, don't rely too much on the water level. Don't just say, oh, it hadn't hit the medium yet, I'm not gonna do that. You have to also put into play the variable of the fact that where did the roots stop, and how shallow are the roots. Especially for a small pot, there are just some of them that if the root system is not as established versus a very heavily established root system, that can definitely go to a minimum. But this, she was in a 4-inch pot, and I would say some root systems were more developed than others, but they were in the same level. I left the pond up here, and then I started adding them, and I started adding pond in the top. But this one was really, really shallow. And like I said, the root system was like this long. So it's just probably like right here, probably just one, like maybe 2 layers of just pond on there. So I have to really watch out for this one. I'd probably have to check on her. I might have to give her a little bit water more often in just this section alone, just a little bit, maybe like a teaspoon. I won't go over 1 tablespoon if need be. If I notice like she's a little too wrinkly and then the rest are doing fine, then it means she just needs a little bit of help. And the good thing about it is that I separated them, as you can see right here. I went to bare root. And so that's why I know, the root system, how it's doing and all that stuff. Taking apart a plant into bare root takes a lot of patience. So I learned that from my husband because he's very, very good in doing that. And I watched what he did. I asked a ton of questions, and now I know what to do. So anyway, this is my Pallidiflora, and I really am hoping that she will actually love me back this time around. So anyway, if you guys have any tips, questions, comments, anything to do with this particular plant, if I picked the wrong variety, I thought that I did, let me know down in the comment section below. I love hearing from you guys all the time. Anything else, guys? Write down in the comment section. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.